Wrong one. Hold on a second. Welcome to the show. Give me a second here. That's not what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Shit. We're in. Okay. Welcome to the show. It is October 3rd, 2025, and we are here Friday Night Live. And I just wanted to come in for a second before we get started and say that we're doing something a little bit different tonight. We're gonna do masculinity, the effects that it has on the family, and what it does to society, and transgender and all the bullshit that's going on in our world with all this stuff. Really taking over the United States a lot in a lot of areas, especially the school system. We're going to get into that tonight with Boyd and Thomas, and we're gonna, or I should say, Brent and Thomas. And let me bring them in real quick here, just a second. Remember, everybody, if you're new, this is a new system, so you're gonna have to just work with me a little bit while I figure all this stuff out. But we are gonna do this, and I have a great. So I have to do this, and I need to pull this down. Got it. All right, here we are. All right. Hey Thomas, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Can you hear us all right?
Yep. Perfect.
Cool. Um, Thanks for being here. Thomas has helped me a lot with this system because it's a new adventure for me. Thank you very much. So you want to tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then Brent, you go after him. Okay.
Wasn't prepared for that, but yeah. Thomas. I'm a technical engineer. I have been a technical engineer for 20 years now, and I have two daughters, one son, and yeah, that's who I am.
Yep. And I would say something like, you could say something like, you've trained men for 25, close to 25 years on how to be masculine and how not to be a pussy in your life and how to help men not get divorced and, all that stuff. Cause that's what we really do. And you want to go, Brent?
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Brent. My job, I'm a structural special inspector. Been doing that for about 7 to 8 years. I'm also a father. I have three kids. One's 18 now. I got a gonna be 12-year-old boy here in a couple days. So it's a really critical time in his life. I'm just focusing on being the best role model I can for him. It's super important. And we also circle up on a men's team and support each other to be the men we always wanted to be, right?
Yeah.
And that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Yeah. And so, tonight you get you get a little different version of who I am because because we talk about politics and we talk about the podcast or the live stream or the broadcast or all the corruption in the world and all that stuff. And then, I decided about 3 months ago that we were going to start doing once a month, doing something different. I'll still, by the way, have my show tomorrow night. On Saturday night, I'll do my regular podcast, regular live show, politics, and all the bullshit that's going on. But once a month, we're going to do something like this to pick topics and roll with different topics so that we can get a little different version of what's going on. And I too, I have three kids. I have a 32-year-old. The youngest is 7. Most of you already know that I have a 16-year-old autistic boy, and but what you may not know is that I circle up with men. There's about 28 of us. We circle up every week. We do community service. We do change the world type stuff. We support young men how to be great men and young women how to be great mothers. And we support people in marriage to make sure that if you got her pregnant, that you ain't leaving, that you need to stick it out and you need to figure out what to do. Because if you can make the decision to get somebody pregnant, you should make the decision to never leave her, no matter how crazy she is. And so that's kind of the thing about that. And so this topic that we're talking about tonight is, uh, I would have to say that is one of those topics that they don't talk about enough, that needs to be talked about more because of what is going on in our culture with, whether it's the transgender stuff or, or the feminine, I guess there's the furry thing going on now. I don't even really know a lot about that. I'm definitely out of that age bracket, and all the different things, right? I mean, you got, you have you know I think we've had 10 shootings in the last 10 years, or I guess it's more than that. In the last 5 or 6 years, actually, we've had several mass shootings at schools, and they were all transgender, um, transitioning kids. So the one in Tennessee was a female transitioning to a male, and all the other ones were males transitioning to females.
Have you done any research on that to see out of those that you're talking about, how many were fatherless?
I believe all of them. Well, actually,
Really?
that would be a good question because I know that quite a bit. Um, the last one, what was it? Well, let's look it up. You want to you get your computer?
Okay,
Do you want to look it up and see what it is?
yeah, I could look it up.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see
You,
what that looks
you
like. I
think
mean, that'd be a
Google
great
has that
question.
information? You think?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, for a hacker, it's easy,
I'm thinking
right?
they're trying.
You just hack into the CIA website, and
Hey,
it tells you what MI6 group they were a part of, and
what what do I
what
search up for this podcast?
Rumble,
Rumble what?
Inspector Web.
At Inspector Web?
Yeah, Rumble. It's rumble.com/Inspector Web, or x.com/Inspector Web Pod, or Getter at Inspector Web.
It's on all those platforms right now.
Yes, it's on all those. I guess we should check to make sure we are on them, but I don't have no red notices. But that's a good question. I probably should have checked that because we always have sound issues if I'm not careful. So
Yeah.
thanks for letting me know that,
Well,
reminding me.
I just
Yeah, the
want.
reason I asked about the fathers is because there's like I we draw a correlation between like some of the hormone therapies and stuff that
Yep,
these people are going through, and I don't really think that's an issue. I think one of the big issues is a cultural issue where fathers and men aren't in these people's lives.
absolutely.
We live in a society where the government subsidizes single mothers. They want single mothers. So
Right.
a woman is subsidized by the federal government to be single and uh, given stuff to be single and remove that masculine entity from the family because they don't want the nuclear family.
Right. That's
Yeah.
true. And what comes with that, right, is, let me send this link over real quick here. What comes with that is not only is it fatherless homes, but you get all this wanting to fit into these different cultures, and what happens? They try. Let's use a good example of someone that we know personally, and we'll leave the name out of it. But I have a friend that I've known for about 20 years, and her daughter decided that she was a boy. So then they changed her name. And then she decided that she was not sure if she was a boy, but maybe she was somewhere in the middle. I don't know. I don't know all the 72 genders. I don't know how that works. And then now, then she went to goth, black makeup all over her face. Don't hug her, or else you ruin your shirt. And then it went to, now she's in a dress like a girl, and thank God the mom and dad didn't let her do the therapy, right? The hormone therapy, right? Because the
So now
hormone
she's
therapy,
back to being a girl.
then you can't
Yeah.
once you start that, you can't really reverse it, especially if you start chopping stuff off, right?
Yeah,
So,
mutilation,
the
surgeries, and
mutilate,
stuff
all
like
that, it's
that.
just horrible, you know.
Irreversible. You know. It's
And
horrible.
it's really sad. Did you find anything, or they got it locked down?
Nah,
That is,
yeah, I'd have to do some research on the family things. I don't see anything off the top of my head, but
yeah,
um, it's an interesting thing to look into because I think there's a correlation there. Because when you
yeah,
remove the masculine presence from the family, it's like when you get into a relationship, right? You meet a woman, she likes you, you have chemistry. She likes you when you're single because you're independent, you're strong, you have your own thing going on. She brings you in, and then as she brings you in, she wants to change you. She wants you to do this stuff, wants you to be at her whim. And a lot of men fall for that. They fall for that and they get into that cycle of I need to answer all of her text messages. I need to be the Aunt Johnny on the spot for her, and she doesn't want that. She does not want that. And so what ends up happening is that she loses respect for him, right? Well, the same thing happens when there's no male presence in the family, I believe, is that they don't have that. So women will give in to this stuff. Call yourself you're a young lady, but you can be a young boy. Boys can have children and all this stuff. It's just so emotional and overwhelming that they just give into it.
right. That's horrible, and it's true. It's so true.
Yeah, it just goes against everything that you'd think they stand for. They say they want one thing, and really they want another. They're unwilling to admit it. You know.
Well, and do they even know what they want is the question, right?
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's not bad. It's okay. We know that. I mean, that's biology. That's biology. Everybody knows it. But if you do, that's why having a balance in a family works. You have that masculine and feminine energy. It
Yep.
works for raising children. They have that balance, and when they have that balance, a lot of things can come and go. But when you don't have that balance, it can go totally sideways, like what we're seeing, where they just go off the rails in one way on what's acceptable.
Absolutely. And that was the thing that we were talking about, the stability part. I'm going to send this to my feed. I actually printed this and then I forgot to bring it out because the my 7-year-old decided that my printer would be better if it had, like, I don't even know, screws, rocks, something so it don't work. So I
That's
have
how it
to go
works.
inside. You know how that goes.
He was working on it.
He was definitely doing something to it. And so, yeah, so one of the things that is very interesting to me is discipline and structure versus mom works 2 jobs, the dad's not, probably not even in their life, or if he is, he's, doing something else and he's only part-time, or if, every because the system, talk about the system for a second here. The system wants you to have every other weekend and a Thursday for 4
Right.
hours or something like that, until you get to a place, unless you do it right, where you have, you share custody the whole way, like I did. I shared custody from the moment that we got divorced. We shared custody, so I never lost that consistency, and
And
therefore
you
I
still
think
have the balance,
yeah,
feminine and masculine balance
absolutely.
there.
Pull this up here. Yeah, pull this in right there.
It's so ingrained. It's been so ingrained for so many years in our society. I don't. I was walking by somebody watching sitcoms a while back, a couple weeks ago, and to just look at these sitcoms playing on TV where it's always the man is some idiot who can't find his way. The dad is just dad joke thing, right? They call it dad jokes because you're just too stupid to figure stuff out. That's the perception that society has on men. No,
Right,
you're just too stupid. And if you watch these sitcoms, it gets ingrained into people that that's how men are, and it's not. It's not the truth.
right. Absolutely not. I mean, matter of fact, I think that what they've done to society in this whole thing is, because remember, once upon a time there was this thing where it was always the woman got everything that she wanted in the separation or the child custody courts, and it's changed over time quite a bit, but it still doesn't change the fact that they will go with whatever's fashionable, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah. See how to pull this out.
Yeah, it's definitely skewed against the man.
Sitcoms didn't used to be like that. What, back in the '80s and early '90s?
Right.
You know what I mean? There were more masculine men. What is it? Archie Bunker and Married with Children. He was kind of an idiot. Married with Children.
Oh yeah, Al Bundy.
Al Bundy.
Al
Yeah.
Bundy.
But he was at least masculine, right?
Yeah.
Full House. Was it 3 men in one house? You know,
I
kind
don't
of
like
feminine
it.
men, right?
Yeah, that's true. That was kind of
Yeah. Yeah, it's all social engineering, I think. You know.
yeah, they feed this stuff to you little by little, and it starts with the younger generation. What we have our kids watching,
Yeah.
it gets ingrained in them,
Yeah.
and then they
Or
expect that. And imagine if you didn't have a father in your life. Like I know you had a good father in your life, but if you didn't have a father in your life and you were watching TV and
yeah.
seeing this, you would think that that's how a father acts, like stupid, can't, the woman has to come in and tell him what to do because he's just too dumb to figure it out, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's what our kids are growing up on tablets now, and they have short attention spans. All they see is these short videos now, and they get a skewed representation of the world.
Yep.
Not just fathers and mothers, right? It's totally skewed.
Yeah, it's so skewed. Like social media does this as well. It's like they're living up to a thing because you're only seeing, no one's posting the bad downfalls they're having in their life or whatever, So you're
Yep.
only seeing a projection of somebody's, good stuff, which
Yep.
is good to share with family and everything. But these kids believe that everything needs to be like that all the time because that's what they see on social media. They only see the good stuff. Why is my life? Why do I have this stuff happening in my life when Joey over here doesn't? But he
Right.
he does. Not life isn't social media.
Yeah, he's just not posting it.
Yeah.
Even down to how the women look on the internet versus how they really look in real life. It's just fake.
Tried to pull that, but I wasn't able to get it. When I sent it over, it came back. It came over in code. So
You wouldn't even know you meet a woman in real life, you don't even know her from her Facebook photo. You wouldn't
Also,
even know.
workout influencers that they're like, do work out this way and you'll look like me, but they don't say it. They don't tell you that they're on steroids.
Right.
that's funny.
I mean, we know they are because but young
Are
young
they?
young kids
I
may
didn't
not know
think they
that.
were on.
Yeah,
I didn't think they were. I thought there
like
was normal. Like
Mr.
I
Beast was
thought that
clean.
that filter was just people talking shit about people. I didn't know it was really a
Yeah,
filter.
it's the Liver King. He wasn't on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Sure you weren't, dude.
Can you hear Brent?
What?
He's
Yeah, I can hear.
you have no audio source.
I hear him.
You hear him?
Well,
Okay,
I
cool.
hear Wheeler.
Okay, cool. It says you don't have any sound. I don't know why it says that, but
The audience probably can't hear me.
He's all muted. We've been just talking with a ghost.
Well, we should pull up the link. We'll be able to hear, huh?
Yeah, I could
uh,
check it.
if you hear him good, then you can hear him, and it's
Yeah, I hear him good.
weird. I don't know why it's got a hash mark to it, but it does. Anyway, I was trying to pull this email. Maybe you can pull the email out of that the top email or this one. I don't know if you can see that. It's about stability, security, discipline, and structure, modeling responsibility, protection and safety, confidence and independence. It's the traits of
Oh yeah,
masculinity. Can you pull
I
that
see that.
over?
Yeah.
Because I tried and it came across in code. Of course it would, because if I need anything done, um, I'm better off with a hammer and a chisel.
Can the
So
people at home see that page?
no, they can't see the
Oh,
page.
they
They can
just
only see
us.
they can only see what we have on the screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
But that would be cool that I could just pull it up, but that's just the way it comes
And so
across.
you want this? You want to share this?
Yeah, you could put it in
Word
the video
document, or
file. You can
I'll
put
put
in
it
the
in the
video.
video.
Yeah, put in the video file. The one that I use all. I don't know what happened. I put it in there, and it when I opened it, it was like Z's and X's. So like, well, Thomas could read it to us. He reads code. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it in that one. See, I have it right there, but it's in code. So anyway,
You have to
oh
move
yeah,
this. You have to move this because I can't see what screen you're on.
I need to move. Need me to move it? You want me to put it over
Yeah,
here? Do you want me to just open it up and I could put it on this screen? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I can. What the hell? Hold on a second. Put this back here. I can just move it over here, and we can open it up like that. And
yeah,
you
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that'll work.
can you get rid of this or no?
Yeah. Let's see. We'll go.
Because I can just pull that and we can put it on that screen. That is the.
Oh, that's what it'll look like there.
That's fine. That's good. So,
Get all the bugs
sorry,
worked out.
we're doing things on the fly. We're all like pretty close. So when we're talking, we're answering each other's questions because this is normal stuff for us. And what I want to say about that before we move on from that particular subject, I was thinking about so going back to the conversation I had with the mom and the dad about the little girl that decided that she was something other than what she is, right? Because I don't believe in that. I mean, if you're 18 years old and you've decided that you want to be a whatever, cool, great.
Well, it's just a
It,
phase.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I told him. I'm like, listen, your kid's going through a phase. You guys got divorced. She's not. She's with her mom. Her mom's super liberal, and no offense to liberal, but it's the truth. And he's like, maybe not so liberal. I don't know. And I was like, you just have to go with the waves and don't let them brainwash her to the point to where because they're grooming them in school at very young grammar school or whatever they call it now, elementary school, middle school, high school, college. They just keep grooming them with all this chaos. There's other words for it, but it's really all just chaos. They talk you into, burning flags and doing all this stuff and changing your gender and all this stuff. And it's the school culture. Like I told my kid, I was like, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, or when you was born, couldn't wait to get you in college, and me nor your mom wants you in college because I think that it's not a healthy place unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. You kind of have to go to college for that. You just need to be prepared for what you're going to run into when you're in college. But anyway, the point was, hey, just she's in a phase. I don't agree with you saying that so and so's name's something else, and calling it her a him and all. I don't believe in all that. And anytime I heard it, I was like, "That's a girl," you know what I mean? And that's kind of probably taken disrespectfully, but it's just the truth. I mean, I'm not gonna. That's just my beliefs. And anyway, so over the time, it's been 7, 8, 9. I guess it's been what 8 years or something.
Probably.
Now
Yeah.
I seen
Coming out of it.
I seen her in a homecoming and wearing a dress, conservative makeup, not like goth, black, all that stuff. And it was like good. I'm glad that worked because it's a crapshoot. You don't know if you're going to do this with your kid, and your kid's going to just go off the deep end and end up like those people down there downtown, burning shit down and acting all crazy because they groom them for all that stuff. It's just not to change your gender. It's to hate people. They do the color thing. They do all these different things. This is what they do, and
It's all
it's
division. It's
it's
to divide
all
the people
yeah,
because you're over
yeah,
here talking about this, and they can do whatever they want because you're preoccupied. One
yeah,
of the big things you got to think about too is like, is it really far fetched that young men want to be women? Because look, society gives women all of this stuff. They incentivize women to be single moms. They treat them a certain way, and look at what young men get. Young men get the brunt end of toxic masculinity. Anytime you show something, you're bad. Women say they would rather choose a bear than to be with a man, right? Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's not far fetched that young, impressionable male that doesn't have a positive masculine role model in his life would say, you know what, I would rather just identify as this so
Yep.
I don't have those problems.
Well, they
Right.
also get rewarded for it, right? In
And then they
school,
get rewarded.
they get more attention from people when they do that, right? So it's an incentive thing, I think, too.
Yeah. So let's look at this. Let me pull this up real quick here. Hope everybody can see this. It says stability and security studies consistently show that involved fathers provide emotional and financial stability that benefits children's long-term success. Children with present, dependable fathers are less likely to experience poverty, behavioral problems, and school dropouts. And even for me, I was a fatherless home. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until I became an adult that I actually stopped being all those things that's going on, emotional, angry. It took many, many years for me to break that cycle because my mom was working 2, 3 jobs just to support me and my brother, and that was it. And, I would, I was a thief. I would jump out my bedroom window and go out all night, maybe come back if I wanted to, steal cars. I was just that's I had none of that. No consistency. I had no dependable father, you know what I mean?
Well,
And
I
so
had a dependable father. He was Both parents were there until I was around 18. They separated after I was 18, and dad was home. He was always there, and I was a little shit. I would sneak out in the middle of the night. I would go do drugs. I did all the bad things. But the difference is he was there, and I got to see how you're supposed to be a man, right? And I ended
right.
up coming back to it later in life, right? Because the the
It's set.
yeah I'm thinking of the word.
Foundation.
Yeah, the foundation was there. The depiction of a man was there in my subconscious from his how he portrayed it, right?
Yeah, and your dad's very
And
masculine
then
too.
yeah, so then it all came back to me after 30 years old. But if it wasn't there, I might have just kept going off the deep end. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Like we're looking at it now, where they just keep going, because it's not unheard of in all civilizations where young men want to go out. There's a point when young men go out and they want to make their own way. That's what we're naturally set to do,
Yeah, that's the teenage
and
years.
so
And
they
then that,
go out. Yeah, and being able to do that within, just like you said, you went out, but you had that example. So if you
Right.
imagine if you didn't have that example, you can just keep going and you wouldn't, even if you wanted to make that change, you wouldn't know what that example looked like
Yeah,
or
that
what
was me
steps to be
for
there.
sure. That was definitely
yeah,
me.
and Webb didn't have that example, so he was able to keep going right into the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's definitely better to have a masculine role model and a motherly figure at home for sure.
Yeah, and it's a pendulum, because you have to teenagers have to be, young men especially have to be able to go out and do that.
Yeah, well
It has to be within reason.
that's why teenagers get mad at their parents, and they get rebellious
Yeah.
just so they have that instinct to leave the home and go be successful, and fuck you, dad, I can do this myself.
Yep.
That's ingrained in all teenagers, even the girls, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Our
think so
daughter's
as
kind of
well.
going through that right now.
Well, and so for me, it's interesting because I definitely had no model. My models were bad examples. You know, dudes from prison, bikers, drugs, all that stuff. I come from the worst of the worst, and the truth is, it wasn't until I did the men's weekend, really. But when I got clean 24 years ago, when I got clean, I started to become I started to grow up in my life. But I spent half my life just fucking shit up, more than half. I think I got clean when I was 34.
What's the men's weekend?
Right. We'll talk about that. And so some of the stuff that it talks about discipline and structure. I had none. I didn't have discipline or structure. Masculine traits such as firmness, consistencies, and accountability help establish boundaries in the home.
Yep.
Ki- uh, Kids raised with both nurturing and structured disciplines are more likely to grow into resilient, responsible adults. And I was not that because listen, I was, the dudes from down the street. When I could drive when I was 14 years old, and they couldn't drive, so they'd come get me, bang on my window in the middle of the night, so I could drive their stolen cars. Like, and that's kind of the direction that I went. And it wasn't until I got shipped off for the fifth or sixth time that I stopped hanging out with those kids, and then I picked up a new set of kids that were probably just as bad, just not stealing shit. They were doing drugs. So I mean, and this is what happens to families, these kids, and that's why we do this thing about if you get some chick pregnant, and this is for all you youngsters, if maybe you my son, he all the time talking about he wants a girlfriend. And I'm like, dude, just wait. Trust me. You're gonna wish that you waited as long as you possibly could to get some crazy chick in your life. No offense to the crazy chick, but she's just gonna be a crazy chick.
They're all crazy.
Especially at 17 years old, you're gonna get a time bomb. And I go, just wait. And he doesn't. He's just all the time thinking about. It. Anyway, my point is, um, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? I was talking about
Your son looking for a girl.
yeah, looking for yeah. But before that, I was talking about how it was for me, how I ended up where I ended up.
Well, you didn't have any role models.
None.
Your
I had
mom was forced to be the man and the woman,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
and
she was a
yeah,
force.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It was definitely not good. And so I was 14 years old, running around the streets 16, 18, just running the streets. My mom was like, dude, you're out of control. I was out of control. So when I was like 16, she's like, your house is down the street.
yeah.
I'm going to pay the first month's rent and you're on your own
You're
after that.
done. You're
Yeah,
done.
you're out of here, dude. Anyway, my point is in all that is not having structure in my life. This is what's happening to these kids. I remember what I was talking about. The kids that don't have parents in the home, two parents in the home, they're destined to fail. That's why we
Yeah,
practice. If you get a chick pregnant, you don't have a choice. Anybody that leaves their kid, uh, or their chick, their girlfriend, leaves her to fend for herself and the kid. It's like, what do we say? It's child abuse.
yeah. I had to do that when I went to prison. I had a young kid.
Well, that's different. You
Riley
kind of
was,
yeah,
he was months old when I
yeah,
got shipped off to prison, and she left me while I was in prison. And my mom kind of took over my role going in to see him. She'd bring him to see me in prison,
yeah,
and yeah, she phased me out because I was not providing.
right,
I was a criminal, and I couldn't take care of him. So she moved on. But
Yeah.
I was there for him after
yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
But sometimes you don't have a choice.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we have a choice before we start fucking up. But
That's
I
right.
mean, when you're an adolescent at 25 years old, you're just an
Yeah,
adolescent. You
yeah,
haven't
you
grown
are.
up yet.
Yeah, you're
You
not
know what
even
I mean?
grown.
And so for all you kids, and I know that, a lot of you kids watch the show, you need to know that like you get some chick knocked up, you better stick it out because not only are you causing damage to the kid, like you'll never ever be able to let that go in your chest. It's like it's like when you leave your kid behind and then you see your kid at 20 years old and you're like 50 and you're like, fuck, that was stupid. I wish I wouldn't have done that to that kid, right?
Yep.
You can't take it back.
Yep.
Just stay. You just figure it out. You know what I mean? And I know some chicks are hard to deal with and some men are hard to deal with, but you just do because you want what's best for the kid and the best. And it says it right here. Kids raised with both nurturing parents is the key to success, right? And
Right.
so,
There's caveats to all that, but yeah.
see what's this say? Modeling responsibility, healthy masculinity models duties, working hard, keeping commitments, and protecting loved ones, boys and girls, Both benefit from seeing the balance of strength and responsibility. It sets standards for their relationships and life choices. And that's what you said. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you seen, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
You know,
my son, that's what I'm attempting to do right now with my son
yeah,
is just model
yeah,
consistency, hard work, and commitment, right? And honesty.
straight
That's
up.
all he sees, right? Like he makes a commitment to football, he's going. Unless you're injured, you know what I mean? You're going to do what you said you were going
Well,
to
I
do.
think he should go and stand on the sidelines if
Yeah.
he's injured.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of the kids do that.
Yeah.
We have one with a cast on his arm that has to stand. He stands on the sideline with his team.
Yeah, because
But
he's part of the team. That's how
yeah,
it
Yeah.
it's a
works.
critical age, I think. From
Oh yeah. 12. Yeah.
toddler to 12 to
Yeah. Oh yeah.
before he becomes a preteen. That's pretty critical right there. He gets the foundation that he's able to come back to later in life after he goes through his
Yeah,
rebellious
because
phase.
right now is the spot before he sees the girls.
Yep.
Wait till he sees the
Oh,
girls. It's on.
he's already seen
Yeah,
them.
but not yet. About 13, 14, he's gonna be like, huh, huh, huh.
Yeah.
I can see it already.
Oh
Because
yeah.
that's what John's doing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we're beating
Yeah, and
it.
your
We're beating
son's
this.
in that phase
He
right
oh
now.
yeah, he is. So fathers protection and safety, right? Fathers often emphasize risk awareness and teach children how to face challenges safely, right?
Yep.
And if you don't have that, you do stupid shit like end up in prison, right? If you
Yep.
don't have somebody guiding you, not that you necessarily tell your kid what to do, but you kind of guide them through your actions, right? You're not like
Yeah,
out.
based
Yep.
on challenges that you have in your life, he sees how you respond to it, how
Right,
you're calm in adverse situations, and you
yeah,
can use your logic. Men are logical, so we use our logic
Yep.
and reason to get out of things. We don't use our emotions.
Yeah, we use our
right.
brains, right?
Well,
Yep.
we're not supposed to use our emotions, right? Confidence, independence.
Well, that's
Um,
one thing I talk to my son about is that you should have a healthy dose of fear. You know, that
yeah,
emotion is, and know that that's something, but you can't live by it. You can't make your decisions based on fear,
Well, it's
right.
a
but you have to
motivator
know
though.
that it's there. It's a motivator. Yeah, it should be a motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see if I can get through this real quick here. Masculine parenting often encourages independence, letting kids push limits, take risks, and learn from failure. That's the other thing. That's what the dad's for, by the way, because when you talk about a mom, your mom's patting him on the ass. It happens every day, all day long. So I know how this works. She's like, "Oh, I don't want him to get hurt," and I'm like, "I know. Let him get. We just want to make sure he don't get too hurt. Just
We'll
let
make
him
sure
get
he
out
doesn't
there and figure
die.
it out."
Yeah. As long as he
Yep.
doesn't die, we're good.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't die. This builds confidence and problem-solving skills, especially when balanced between with mater, maternal nurturing.
Maternal nurturing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What does that mean? Motherly,
Yeah, a combination of male and female.
maternal.
Mom's
Well,
nurturing, right? Is that what that
yeah,
means?
that's like, yeah, that's the mother's nurturing.
Yep.
The
Oh,
dad's gonna let him push limits and take risks, and the mom's gonna shield him from all that. And that's the
Yeah, it's
balance
like
that you
you
have,
married
right?
my wife, where she allows him to do whatever. She actually laughs when he gets hurt.
yeah. She's different. Your wife's
Yeah.
different.
I'm probably the more protective one, actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Oh
You're
yeah,
like,
she loves it, putting him in danger.
I'll say this about this little topic about masculinity and parenting. Um, Early on, so I have a 7-year-old where and I have the 16. He'll be 17 in about 10 days or 12 days, and so I have him half the time. So it's definitely a little different. But he does have two parents here and two parents there that are secure. Like not my ex-wife's not dating a different dude all the time. She's been married and we've been married. And so he sees the stability. Now my younger one, it's taken us a while to catch on to how to do this with him because he's also autistic, right? whether there's debate if hyperactivity is autistic or not, but and we've had to learn how to do that. But he goes to her for nurturing, and he comes to me like every day after school. First thing he comes up and he wants to like wrestle, which is a good trait to have that teaches him masculinity.
No.
But I don't let him win. I let him sometimes get close or whatever, but I don't let him win because I want to teach him strength and resilience. I want to teach him that you got to work hard to win. You can't just win because you're younger than me and I'm going to be nice to you. You gotta. If I get him in a some kind of a hold, you got to get out of it. I mean, you got to work for it. I'm just not going to let go. You got to get out. I mean, it teaches him resilience. You know what I mean? I think it's important that we're doing that with our kids. And
That's a good lesson. They're not always going to win. Right?
no,
Yeah.
well, 2025, I think you're supposed to get a trophy and a ribbon. And what's the other thing?
That's
A
bullshit.
kick in the ass. Anyway. All right. So,
Yeah, a little bit about what you said about like the hyperactivity. I think some of that can be characterized by the way that our schooling system has changed. I mean, we have kids that go to school from what,
yep,
7 a.m. to 4 p.m. or something like that. That's like for a young man to not be out on the fucking dirt doing
yep,
his thing. Like, he's got a lot of built up energy that needs to get
yep,
out.
yep. And I see that. We've got him in a Christian school, sort of Christian, definitely like a conservative um type Christian school. So like the vice principal has this um, Star Spangled Banner on her window of her truck.
That's
I mean,
great.
that's how they
Yeah.
are, right? And it's a complete lockdown school. You can't get in the door, even if you are the parent. You need to have a card that says that you can come into school. They keep it locked down tight as a drum, which is great. But and I think he goes at 8:30 or something, and he gets out at 3. That's still a long time.
No, it's
You
still
know
an
what I mean?
8-hour
Yeah,
day. I
yeah,
think what Wheeler's saying is that boys don't like to be pinned down in class, no matter whether it's Christian or not, right?
Right? Yeah.
They want to
right.
be out playing and
Yeah.
being rough and tumble, throwing rocks, fishing. That's where they learn from. I don't
Yeah.
even think they learn much in school. How can they pay
Yeah, because
attention?
with a
Yeah.
young man, you got a hour or 2 hours, really a day of academic learning that they're going to take in before they need to
Yeah.
be throwing a fishing pole or throwing some
You think it's
rocks or doing something.
you think it's that little, huh? Yeah, their
I
little
do.
window to learn something is very, very small.
Yeah, so my son goes to school for 4 hours a day, 4.5 hours a day, and that's like, and incorporated in that is, activity time. So that's not all learning time. So
Right.
about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then 2 hours of activity time. And I think it's perfect. It's a perfect fit in that area. And I think, and I haven't looked at it like how schools were in the past. I know
Right.
my school days were shorter than they are now. Not by much, but they
Yeah,
were.
I don't
And
remember.
then they didn't have like now they have, and I understand because we are subsidizing like single parenthood, single motherhood. So we
Yep.
have pre-K, we have head starts, and send your kid here because we want to indoctrinate them early. If we get them that early, then we can have 2 grades before kindergarten. Then you got pre-K, then you got K. Like
Yep.
all of that stuff doesn't even need to happen. You get them into the grades and then start going from there. They should be home doing doing life and then get into their academic grades.
Yeah,
That's
first
my
grade,
opinion.
right? Yeah, first
Yeah.
grade's probably where they start. You know what I mean?
And
First
if
grade.
and if
Yeah, after
it,
school program too.
yeah, then they have the after school programs. We're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, because
But it's
single mothers can always pick their kids up. I can't pick them up.
it, I don't know about you, man, but like for me, yeah, I was taking care of kids when I was 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like my brothers and sisters. And so I knew how to take care of myself. I knew how to cook, clean, sew. Like my grandmother taught me, my grandfather taught me. Like these are things you need to know.
Right.
And then I look at the kids today and They don't know that stuff. There's people that some of these kids I think would starve if they're didn't have somebody cooking a mac and cheese or something, right?
Not my kid. He'll cook some mac and cheese. What neat. Hey, he's 11 years old. He's taking his bike down to the store, paying them for some candy, taking his
That's
bike
right.
back. He goes to, the restaurant, eats at a table alone.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a little stud. Yeah,
really independent. Like he's at home in the morning and he gets himself ready for school, brushes his teeth, and is out the door, you know, without anybody home. He locks the house up and he feeds the animals before he leaves.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, like I give him props for that. I tell him I'm proud of him for being so responsible.
Yeah.
It could be the other way around.
Well,
He could
nowadays
be,
you're almost afraid to even
yeah.
leave your kid behind or
Well,
let him go
well,
to
I
the
am.
store. Let him go to the school store without parent
I
supervision.
have
I mean,
anxiety about it. Like we got cell phones now. I can watch exactly where he is at all times. And when he goes to those little store trips, I watch him.
yeah,
I'm like a helicopter parent. It's
yeah, you are.
ridiculous.
You're like a pussy.
Yeah. Why don't I
All
just
right.
let him do
So,
what he's got to do?
anything else on
Yeah.
this topic before we move on?
The what?
No, no,
Before we move on.
I'm good.
Oh
Anything else
yeah.
you want?
No, we
I
can
want
move
to move
on.
on from the kids. So, the culture. Let's talk about the culture. Um, well, let me see here. Let me pull this up real quick. I'm going
What
to add
culture is that? Like
our
just
fucking
current culture, or
our current culture. Hold on. I gotta do this
Is
right
it
here.
social media culture,
Well, no, it's the it's actually
the
shit,
feminization of men.
feminization of men. Exactly. That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Pull this guy down.
that's a big problem, man. That's one thing we really concern ourselves with.
Hard times create strong men create good times times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
We're in the fourth one right now.
And we are in the fourth one right now. And so that is we in our society we've had it so good for so long. We never had battles. We're in battle. We're in like war battle right now. Everywhere, everybody, all the time.
Spiritual war.
It's
Yeah.
spiritual war,
Yep.
race war. I mean, everything.
Physical
Everything
war.
is
Yeah.
war right now, and it's because the beginning of that hard times create strong men. We got away from right.
Yeah. Or strong men create good times,
Yep.
right?
And
Like,
I
and
like
we
agree.
have
I agree. I agreed with that to a point, but you can still have these values. It's been a perfect storm of culture because the hard times created strong men. That's for sure. My grandfather was a strong man,
yeah, that
right?
was our
But
grandfathers.
right.
Yeah.
those values aren't lost. Something happened where it became unacceptable to be that way. So what happened that it's not necessarily the hard times. The hard times created these great men, and these great men instilled values in another generation. But where did it become wrong to be that?
So you think it's
Well,
still there, right?
that's definitely a thing.
It's still there. Those values are still there. They're just quiet.
They're
They're
quiet, or
not
they've
out.
been if you don't instill those values in the next generation, somebody else is instilling values in that generation.
Yeah.
Well, I have a chart here. It's old. It's from 2010, maybe. Let me see if I can pull it here. Hold on a second. Let's see. I pull it this way. I'm learning how to use this thing, so bear with me here for a second. Uh, I have a couple. Let's do this one first. This chart. So this chart right here, I can pull it up on the big screen. Can you see that, Brent?
Yeah.
So that chart says that masculinity or testosterone and
A level of fertility.
it says that in 2000 It was under 300, just under 300. And in 2015 or 2018 was the last one. It was down below 200. And so that's part of my opinion. That's part of the problem is men are so weak nowadays that they're not like they used to be. Men are not the same.
Well, the
That's
food's
why
not
you
the
have
same
so much
either,
feminine.
right?
What?
The
Yeah,
food's
that's a
not
good
the same
point.
either. Like the nutritional
Yeah,
value of the food
right.
we have
Yep,
nowadays,
absolutely.
right?
And I think that's a big problem when you talk about testosterone levels. That's a huge
Yeah,
problem because a
Yeah.
lot of the
yeah,
processed foods
Good.
that we eat
yeah,
are testosterone blockers.
Yep, absolutely.
yeah. It's not good, man.
And so when I think about when I when I'm out in public or whatever, I mean I'm in I'm in construction, so most of the men are, at least some level of masculine, maybe not exactly, but I mean, some of them are,
They got all types.
very interesting. But for the most part, you got men working with their hands that creates that strong man for the most part. And but when you get
But
out
you
in
still have
society,
that emotional thing. So it'd be interesting to see an estrogen chart next to this testosterone chart to see where that's at. Because a lot of those same men may be working with their hands, but they're so fucking emotional that they can't have a conversation with anybody. You know what I mean?
right? Well, yeah, that's definitely a thing going on too. Absolutely. So let me pull.
Yeah, there could be multiple reasons for that chart. Yeah,
A big thing is like take a look at the timeline, the invention of the smartphone. Screens are known to have a negative effect on a man's
mm.
testosterone
Yeah,
production.
the blue light.
Oh, this blue light
Yeah,
screen.
the screen.
Yep.
All the Wi-Fi device or the Bluetooth devices we have hooked up all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's
All
one of the
that's
things that Alex talks about,
it's
leaving
all
your phone
wavelength.
not close to you when
Yep.
you're sleeping.
Yeah, the
And then also for a man, you get that dopamine hit from, like we talked about social media, right?
yeah.
Before, if you needed to get that, like, I think that's what it's called, like a dopamine, that excitement or whatever. People are scrolling on Facebook, seeing what people are doing. But before, you had to go out and hop on your dirt bike and ride down the road and do that.
Yeah.
It's
You
a
had to go
physical
knock on the
activity.
front door, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or you had to call
Here's a good chart for you.
the house.
This one talks about benefits of optimal testosterone, right? Sharp mind, confident, happy, increased muscle. I mean, this is a man that, is operating from his testosterone versus a man that's deficient, right?
Yeah.
And he's bent over, he's fat, he's lazy, he's got his hands in his pocket, he's all beat down. And I can relate to this. For years I was just a fucking slug. And it wasn't until I realized that I better do something about it until I actually did something about it. And I actually was able to, go to the gym every day, eat right, stop eating garbage. I used to, my part of my everyday thing was chocolate, it was,
Yeah.
I instead of me, I'd take vitamins, right? Because I think I was being healthy, so I'd take vitamins, but then I'd back it up with being when I was tired, I just eat chocolate because chocolate has a little bit of caffeine in it, and it would get me going enough, and then I'd crash, and I was tired and fat all the time, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And it wasn't
Sugar
until I
crash.
lost 100 fucking pounds that I found out that the part of the problem is what I'm eating. A lot of it,
Yeah. I
right?
couldn't believe when I seen a picture of you like
Yeah,
10 years ago versus now, the kind of transformation
yeah,
that you've gone through.
yeah. I look like that dude right there.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe worse, but obviously my stomach was a little bit further out there, and I had a couple extra chins. But yeah,
Yeah. You can see your toes now.
I could tie my own boots.
I can, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
So
yeah, that definitely has an effect on men for sure, and they may not even know they're going through it because they don't even, they have no idea.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's acceptable for like the depression and the safe place and all that kind of stuff to happen. So they just think that it's a normal thing that's happening. But
All we need is drugs, right? It's fashionable to have problems.
yeah,
yeah. There's one for you. Let me pull this guy. Masculinity isn't toxic, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
The absence of it is weak men are abusive and spiteful. Strong men are protective and loving.
Yeah. The absence of masculinity is that's what toxic is.
Yep.
Well, they tell us that we're all because we're masculine, we have this toxic masculinity thing going on. But the
Yeah.
truth
I
is,
think that's on its way out. Like the kids that are coming up today, they're back to calling each other retarded and making jokes about people, other races, kind of like we were, when I was younger, we call each other gay, we talk shit. And they're doing it now too. My son's generation, they're kind of coming back to that.
oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I guess my son got in trouble today because there's this thing going around. I'll kick your ass or I'll something like that. And a bunch of the boys got taken to the office today because they were going, I'll just shoot you and all this
Oh yeah.
shit. And
Yeah.
they're 7. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like, you're really, you're not going to go there, right? But they got to let you know.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the benefit of masculinity versus not. Let me pull this. This is a fun one. This is the one right here. Let's see. Pull this
Ooh. Are those clowns?
in. There you go. There's your toxic masculinity right there.
What a miserable existence.
Yeah. What is that? What is that exactly? I mean,
That's it. The clown.
that's 2025 liberalism right there.
Yeah. That's horrible.
Democrat. That's your Democratic Party. That's the one that voted for Kamala. But I
Even
mean,
Yeah. I
really,
mean,
very sad.
it doesn't. To me, none of that stuff matters because I mean that they want to look that way, but it's how they conduct themselves. Like,
yeah,
you want
their
to look
choice.
like a clown, that's fine, but they could be the most upstanding person, and that's what would matter to me more, right?
Yeah.
So I don't
True.
think that the pictures really. I don't think that the pictures really tell the story. I think the actions and what they say tells the story.
Well, sure, but when you look at that right there, I see because I've seen the
It's
thousands
mental
and
it's
thousands
mental
of videos.
illness.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we gotta be honest and say it's mental illness, right? Like,
yeah. It's mental illness and the look that they have, and when you correlate it with all the videos that we see on the internet, it's like
yeah,
that's the fucking nut jobs that are telling you that you're,
Toxic.
toxic
Yeah.
or or you're a bigot or you're racist or whatever. And
using
they're
buzzwords and
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Who cares what they think, man?
right.
I think kids nowadays are done with all the furries and all the gay shit.
Not yet, but maybe getting there.
Yeah, I think they're going the other way now. They're probably sick of all this offensive stuff, right? Being offended, having
yeah, it doesn't
words
get
you
you
can't
anywhere.
say. Yeah, yeah. They're crazy. It is just mental illness, right?
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
Yeah,
so
and
And it's
it's to
rewarded.
different extremes, and it shouldn't be rewarded. Like you said, Boyd, like it is rewarded. When somebody shows up like that to school, they get all the attention, whether it's good or bad. They're just looking for attention.
Yep. And young kids want attention. They don't care what kind it is. If they know they can act like that and get the attention that they crave, then they're going to do it.
Yeah,
They
whether it's
stop
good or
giving.
bad attention, they're
Yeah.
gonna get it.
Yep.
But I know people from all different lifestyles. I know transgendered people. I
Yeah.
know, um, and there's a mental illness that comes with a certain level of it that comes with, something that happened to them. But they're, for the most part, outstanding people. And um, I don't know why it is that, like, have you ever seen like I know transgender people that you wouldn't know were transgendered people because they don't
Right.
wear that clown stuff, right?
Yeah, that's the minority, right? It's probably
It's
actually it
the
might be the
minority.
majority. You know,
here's
these
a really
those are
good
just the
video.
loudest ones right there. There's the ones that stick out.
Yeah, you always see that, right? Like the little percentage of the people are the ones that are the loudest, so that's what everybody sees,
Yes.
and
Right.
Yeah,
nobody else.
and they get a bad name. Like
Oops.
gay. There's a organization called Gays Against Groomers. They're gay people that are done with uh, kids getting groomed in the name of what, being gay, right?
Right.
Not what they want to do. They're totally against grooming kids to do that sort of thing. Kids don't know about life. They have no chance. If you're going to groom them, it's unfair.
Here you go. Let's watch this video.
Okay.
I think it's it says I don't have sound, but let's just see if it plays with sound. Nope, no sound.
No sound.
I don't know why I don't have sound on that
That's
video.
not helpful.
Well, I know. Well, it should have sound. The sound's
Are you
up.
on mute?
Might be on mute.
I might be. Let me check. Hold on.
Yeah, that video should have sound because there's not a lot to look at.
Yeah.
Kind of be a pointless video, right?
Oh,
There you go. Oh wait, that's our volume.
yeah, but it should have sound. It doesn't have sound.
Your other videos have sound, right?
Yeah.
That's just this video.
Let me do something here. Let me pull this one down. Hold on a second. Let me pull it down and let me go the other direction with it. I was trying to be cute, but I don't know why that one's doing that, so.
A national security threat. Communist militants and Islamic supremacists are working together to destroy our country from within. This radical partnership is known as the Red-Green Alliance. On September 11th, of all days, the violent Marxist Transgender Socialist Rifle Association advertised a gun training day, not for the public, specifically for Middle Eastern origin participants. They posted the flyer on the anniversary of America's worst terror attack. The training
That's an
itself
AI
is
video?
scheduled for September 21st in Maryland, the same weekend that the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CARE, will hold its annual conference just miles away in Washington, D.C. This is not an accident. Hosted around 9/11, scheduled the same weekend as CARE's D.C. conference, and wrapped in Islamic terrorist imagery. A deliberate symbolic provocation meant to glorify resistance. The poster is chilling. It echoes Layla Khaled, the PFLP hijacker, who once held civilians at gunpoint, and recalls imagery tied to Hamas spokesman Abu Obaida. Make no mistake, this is the Red-Green Alliance. Marxist transgender militants appear to be fusing with jihadist actors. Different ideologies, same mission: to wage war on America, Christianity, Israel, and the West. These sure do not seem like self-defense clubs. They appear more like armed extremists openly preparing for revolution. The Socialist Rifle Association's fingerprints are all over violence in America. Members and affiliates have been tied to firebombed Tesla dealerships, shootouts with federal officers at an ICE facility in Texas, attempted murders. And after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, SRA members mocked his death online, celebrating instead of condemning it. They market this as, quote, inclusive firearms education, what it appears to be terrorist cosplay with live ammunition. And it gets worse. The night before this training, just miles away in D.C., CARE's annual conference will be wrapping up. A conference we've exposed as a who's who of questionable actors and radical advocates. In a major development, CARE's keynote jihadi pick, Mahmoud Khalil, a pro-Hamas activist tied to militant and violent causes, has been ordered deported to Algeria or Syria by an immigration judge. Finally, some good news. CARE branded their gathering as, quote, Impact Weekend. Resilience, resistance, and renewal. Resistance, the same word the Socialist Rifle Association and jihadists use to justify violence. So think about it. Attendees hear that message in DC, then the next day, down the road in Maryland, the Socialist Rifle Association offers resistance training with live rifles. Enough excuses. These groups are not fringe. They are dangerous. The Socialist Rifle Association is operating here on U.S. soil, a militant Marxist-Leninist force aligning with Islamist jihadis. The question is simple. Will our government act before more blood is shed?
Yeah, so that is the reason why I showed that was because maybe we'll pull it down, press back up here. The reason why I showed that was not because that is actually something that they're doing, but they've spun all these transgenders up, right? They brainwash them, they groom them, they indoctrinate them, they do all this stuff, and then they scoop them up and they put them in these training camps. That particular training camp, they're talking about a DC thing, but that came from Utah, right down the street from where Charlie Kirk was killed. That's why everybody was saying that they thought that Charlie was killed by transgender in the beginning, because they have a training camp right outside and they were there like the day before, the week before, whatever, like that. And so, but the reason why I showed that was because that's what they do. First, they brainwash you, then they wind you up, put you on SSRIs or whatever, and then they tell you, "Oh, we got the answer for you," and then they take you to these training camps, train you how to shoot, and then they get you out there to do these acts of violence, which are happening all over everything. That's what we started this with, was like the transgender shootings at schools and all this stuff. And these are the people that have done that. And and what do you think of that?
I don't know if it's all a transgender thing. That's kind of it seems to kind of pigeonhole it into one segment.
Well, no. It's also what I mean is it's that socialist whatever. They have a training camp for it. They're called gay. What is it called? It's called um hold on a second. I'll think of it here in a second. They're like Queen something Queen. What was I told you
I don't
about
know.
this? I have to look. Now
It's
it's
just,
gonna bother me if I don't look it
it
up.
is a minority of people, but that's sad that kind of thing's going on in America.
I'll tell you right now. Let me look it up real quick.
Just those are the kind of values that are getting pushed, and these small minority of people, go to these training camps. I, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it other than that sounds crazy.
I mean, to me, it just sounds like, I mean, I don't know about this organization or whatever. They have a right to train and bear arms and
Yeah.
do whatever they want to do. But is there something linked to them, criminal activity or some wrongdoing or some minor indoctrination that they're doing? Then that would be worth looking into.
I mean,
Yeah, it's definitely that. What is it called? They're called armed. Oh yeah, I got it. I got it. It's not in there. I'll find it.
it's just warped. Like their sense of they have no sense of community or love for their fellow man. Just all hate, right?
Armed queers of Salt Lake City.
That
Yeah,
video was an AI video. Where'd
yeah,
that come from?
I don't know. Someone built it.
Internet. They build them.
Someone built the video.
Here's the other part of that.
We don't
Here,
know.
let me see if I can pull this up. Let me pull this up.
I mean, it could be fake. You never know.
Yeah, I mean it could be, but that's not the first time I've seen that lady or that particular.
Well, transgenders are definitely getting radicalized. That's happening. I mean, we see it already, right?
There you
Yeah, I
go.
mean they're easy targets because they already have a built-in
Hatred.
they already have a built-in hatred for on both sides, right? They're already people don't understand their position, and so it's easy for them to be told that everybody's against them and
Yeah, when
believe
in
it.
reality we're not. Like, I don't hate
No
those
one
people.
really gives a fuck. Yeah,
Yeah,
who cares?
yeah. Just do you. Just don't indoctrinate our kids with it, right?
Right.
I, leave my kids alone and don't share. I don't care what you do in your bedroom.
Yeah. Why do they have to identify by what they stick their thing in?
Yeah,
Why is it so important to let everybody know what you do in the bedroom?
yeah, it doesn't matter. Like no one cares.
Here you
Yeah.
go. Here it is. is the one that I found that through this video
Uh-oh.
because they go together. The armed queers. Oh, you heard about them?
No.
I never heard of that before.
Okay, here we go.
That's pretty funny.
Here in Salt
Propaganda?
Lake City, Utah. I think we unearthed an entire network of them. So yesterday during show prep for the podcast that we did
I've
live
seen
last
this
night on our
before.
Patriot Source podcast channel over on YouTube, SK Nam and I believed that we had unearthed a terror cell operating out of an organization called Armed Queers, Salt Lake City. And SK, being the incredible researcher she is, was able to make connections to some very well-funded NGOs that have been receiving money, at least in recent years, all the way up to organizations like the State Department. When we started coming across this organization called Armed Queers SLC, one name started to pop up over and over again. And that name is Ermia Fenian, an Iranian-born immigrant to the United States, one of the organizers and possibly one of the founders of Armed Queers SLC, but that's not all they've been involved in. You see, this transgender advocate has been all over the place and is deeply connected to some of the most well-funded NGOs in the world. Not only that, but has recently been down in Cuba, training and revolution.
Where it mentioned that while the students at Elam, who came from Gaza, were there to study medicine, that simultaneously they, just by virtue of being there, studied revolution.
And essentially this was an international brigade where they wanted brigadistas with a revolutionary orientation, with revolutionary politics, to come and learn about the Cuban Revolution.
So what made this really strange is as we were unearthing this stuff in real time, we started to notice that Ermia's online presence started to be scrubbed right in front of our eyes. The profiles that she had on some of these NGO websites disappeared. Links that used to exist no longer existed. She was being removed from the internet. So about 10 minutes before we went live last night, SK decided to send over the research that she was pulling over to Data Republican on X, hoping that she could use some of her advanced technology to open this up. And boy, did she. This is what I woke up to this morning. Last night, Data Republican was able to make a connection between Ermia Fenian and Armed Queers SLC and an organization down in Elm Fork, Texas called the John Brown Gun Club, which apparently is a trans Antifa organization that was the ones that were behind the July 4th Alvarado ICE facility shooting. And if you go over to the New York Post, this headline from August 27th, worse than Antifa, inside the new breed of ultra-extremist groups dedicated to chaos, violence, and even alleged murder. And that article explains how this Antifa militant group called the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club and the Socialist Rifle Association led a group of 10 radicals, 8 of whom were found living in a reported squalid transgender commune, and they led them in an armed ambush at an ICE detention center in Alvarado, Texas. I think we now know why Ermia Fenian's presence online is being scrubbed. Somebody does not want us to know who they are.
Yeah.
I believe that they're being funded by NGOs and people, the wealthy.
Yeah.
They're funding this kind of thing to create chaos. I
They
believe that.
get them all spun up, and
Well,
then they get
the
to
Trump administration is talking about figuring out who's funding like Antifa and all
Yeah.
that and
Well,
prosecuting them, right?
I think they've initiated them being a terrorist
Yeah.
group. So
Yep. So whoever's
Antifa.
funding them, they're going to have to be held accountable, right?
what do you think of that, Wheeler? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of noise. I don't know. I mean, there's huge problems you got to dive into on that. Like, I think it all comes back to cultural problems, I mean, there's a lot of politics involved in that right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of politics that need to change. Like, why are we funding stuff like that? Why does that stuff happen? And we have all these conspiracy theories out there. It seems like because conspiracy theories have been proven, the last 5 years, seems a lot of them have come true, that everybody jumps on it and everything is this deep dive thing when it's really not. A lot of times it's a lot of surface stuff and a surface noise to keep us going down these rabbit holes so we're not seeing what they're doing over here with their left hand,
Yeah, it could be.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Yeah, it gets me a little wound up because 20 years ago we didn't have this. We didn't have all this transgender and all this if there
Well,
was somebody that was gay in the neighborhood, they were just gay.
the
Yeah.
truth is we still don't. You know that, right? Because there's less than what 2.9% of the population is transgender out of 350 million people. Like
Yeah. It's
it's
just widely broadcast now.
it is. It's widely broadcast. And then out of that 2.9% that are transgender, how many of them aren't really transgender? They're just like in
Confused.
that
Yeah.
like confused it's that we talk about, like they want attention and all this stuff. They could go either way
Yeah.
Right.
out of that percentage. But if you think about it in those numbers, like 2.9% of the population, under 2.9% of the population is nobody. There's no army being created. And if there is, it's 2.9%. Like, and out of that 2.9%, these people can't agree on anything. They can't agree if they're a man or a woman. So they can't agree on like following some kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. I agree with
Yeah,
that.
you got to watch out for people that make videos to get clicks to make money. Like just poke a certain subject just to get your interest going, and more people watch it, and then they make money off that.
Yeah, they make money. They're incentivized for spreading this stuff, and there's really no downside to them. They're making money off of it, but
Yeah,
you can cause an uproar with things.
yeah. I mean,
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. I guess I
That's,
haven't really met the transgenders that are like radicalized like that because
yeah, I
I
mean,
know I know a few, but it's nothing like.
Well, they're definitely all over the place. Yeah. Right now I'm on my
I
yeah,
think the more dangerous thing is not the transgender themselves. It's the sympathizers, the ones that are like, it's
oh yeah,
okay and they want to indoctrinate the kids and all that stuff, but they're not themselves, right? They're not in that themselves. But yeah, here, let me go take this kid to go mutilate themselves because
yeah,
this 13-year-old thinks that she's a boy, so let's what a
yeah. I don't get
mastectomy or
that.
whatever.
I don't get that. You definitely don't see them doing it to themselves, but they're going
Right.
to advocate that kids do that.
right.
I don't understand why you would do that. Doesn't make any
It's
sense.
it's a mental illness. It is. It really is. It's like a social
I guess
something
so.
in society is making these people do that. And you're 100% right. Look at those people. Like I see videos all the time, like on social media, where these people who are sympathizers to this and pushing for our youth to do this stuff. Boyd's 100% right. They're not doing it to themselves. They're
Not trying
advocating that somebody
to-
else do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nope. Yep. It's a mental illness. Like if we were to chop off our arm, because we're going through a phase, that would be mental illness. So they
Yeah.
do it. They chop their dick off and put a gash in their crotch and call it a vagina.
Yeah, when they would have just they would have just waited, just waited because I had all kinds of ideas when I was a teenager, right? Like
Not like that, bro. Not
no,
like
not like that, but
that.
we didn't have all this. Look at all the perverted stuff that our youth has access to.
Yeah.
Google,
Well, yeah, they got the internet,
fucking
so
game
Porn,
changer.
right? Access to porn. Like when I was a kid, we had to go steal a Playboy magazine or a Hustler magazine.
Yeah,
yeah, it's different culture for sure.
Now they can
and
just
then some of the stuff that's put on there. Did you see the thing about the Netflix,
Yeah.
dude?
Oh yeah.
what happened?
Well, Elon
Uh,
Musk says you need to ban them. So
The
there's
Netflix, some one of the Netflix executives is like a transgender activist or whatever, and they're saying because for a long time people have said like this Netflix thing things are being pushed on Netflix that are not. They're fighting a culture war because media is the front for all this stuff. That media is the outlet to our children because they're watching this stuff, and so if
Oh,
they can curate a narrative through Netflix and Hulu and social media,
yeah.
you've kind of got the kids wrapped up
Well, yeah, they do
from
it.
every angle.
They do it with documentaries too about people or in the
well,
past they'll shape a narrative about a person and put a documentary out on it, and then everybody thinks that's what happened.
Right. Well, and the other thing is all these kids shows, they're literally showing boys in dresses and all this stuff like Cocomelon and all these different shows for these for our babies, because that's a show for kids that can barely talk, 1 to 2, 3 year olds, and they're doing this stuff like they're doing like transgender. Remember I was telling you about the hell was that called? I can't remember what he's one of those, shows, and then they started. They were pretty good because I'd pay attention to it, and then when I started seeing the rainbow stuff start coming up, I was like, "We're not watching that no more," and I shut it off. And my son used to get pissed, but then I was like, "Listen, that I'm not. You're not watching that kind of stuff. That's not. That's." I would just tell him that's unhealthy for your brain, and then he'd do something else. I mean, let's go play Legos, or we go build stuff or something, because it was just like it's just grooming. Any
Yeah.
kind of grooming, little at a time, that's what they do. And I don't even get the reasoning behind it unless it's really funded from big pharma to get them to, if
On drugs.
because there's so much
Yeah.
money involved with the surgery and the money and all that. So I don't know if that's really the reason why they're paying Netflix to put out these shows that do this stuff to push transgender, whatever,
Could
boys
just-
wearing dresses.
yeah, could just be Satanism.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Satanism.
You know what I mean?
Like,
I think it's complacency. So
what do you
you
mean?
imagine men not stepping up to say what's what. Like if you're on the board of Netflix and you have a man come in there and say that we're starting these algorithms and this is the narrative that we're pushing, at what point do you stand up and say this isn't right? Like who's
Right.
standing up and saying this isn't right? You're telling me you have X amount of people that work for Netflix and nobody's standing up to say,
No, they're paid off. They're making money.
They're
They
all
don't care.
making money, but from big pharma.
Yeah.
That's just like MSNBC. They'll push a
They-
narrative
No
for like
lies. Yeah.
they'll push a narrative for shots or whatever it is, or psych meds or whatever, and they just I wake up in the middle of the night and I'll be watching TV for a minute, and it's just every commercial's about Pfizer, different type. Oh, you got to try this.
hopefully,
You have a
hopefully they
headache.
get rid of that. RFK
Huh?
is going to get rid of that.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. I mean, it's nonstop. Every commercial or every block, I think commercials are like, I don't know, 2 minute blocks or 3 minute blocks or whatever it is, and there's always at least one, if not two, about if you have if you can't see straight, you need to take this medication, or if your butt itches, you need to take this medication. It's just
or
nonstop.
if you think your foot's shaking, you got to take this one. The
If you think that you might think that you might,
yeah.
It comes down to the money. I think it comes down to
it's
people wanting
big
to make money, and they don't care what they look at the news, how much they lie, and they know they're lying, and they do it anyway.
they do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
they
I don't
pay-
fault the businesses that are paying the money, right? But where's the breakdown in the morality of people?
Moral.
It goes back all the way to the beginning. Where's the values that have been instilled in people to not do that,
Right.
not take the money to lie, to not sit by while this stuff is happening because they're making a buck.
It's
Well-
toxic. It's toxic to stand up for what you believe in and be masculine.
Yeah,
That's
and it
what
goes
I tell
right
you.
back to what we were talking about in the beginning, or in this broadcast, is like strong men, versus weak men, or masculinity versus feminine men, or all these different things that's going on in our culture. Like, and I have a couple. We're gonna play a couple videos in a minute, but you have the internet is, we'll just, instead of calling it out by a specific, we'll just say the internet teaches all these people, all these men, that if you're strong, if you work out. Remember that thing that was going around when if you work out, you're racist. Remember that? That was like
I heard
years
that.
ago. If you
You're
work
a
out, you're
white
racist.
supremacist.
Remember that? You're a white supremacist.
Yeah.
I was just like, come on.
That's
and
one of the funniest Charlie Kirk interactions I ever saw was when he was. They were saying that Charlie Kirk was racist,
oh yeah,
and it's because Hitler thought that too, and then he asked the kid, he's like, "Do you have a dog?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got a dog." And he's like, "You're Hitler. You're a Nazi because Hitler had a dog. You got a dog, so you're a Nazi." I was cracking up.
He had a simple way of laying shit out, didn't he?
Yeah, it
yeah,
was pretty clear.
and I don't want to go down this, but I just want to say this. If you watch the video of where they're hanging, where they're all Kirk's on the ground. You can't see him. You see his hand come up or some bullshit, but he's on the ground and they're all around him, although they're passing stuff to each other. I don't know if you've seen the video, but I have it. I'm gonna play it tomorrow. But they're passing stuff back and forth. The security is like 3 security guards, and they're passing like handoffs, doing these handoffs while they're working on him. And they keep coming up, doing all this stuff, and there's no blood on anybody. None, 0 blood, and I'm like, "Eh." So we'll be talking about that tomorrow, so don't miss that show.
Yeah,
That's gonna be something because now there's or hey, the Green Berets and the, Special Forces and all that stuff, they're like, "This is not it."
it was the shooter on the grassy knoll.
There's something going on here. So we'll get into that tomorrow. I wanna stay going where we're at, but check this out. So I'm, when I do a show, I want to get versed in different things so I'm not just like an idiot. So I do all this research and Peterson, right? Jordan Peterson talking about masculinity, right? And I'm like, he's got a point. I mean, and he sounds, if you listen to Jordan Peterson, he sounds kind of soft, but he's not because the way he talks, because he's from Canada, you know what I mean? And you're like, but then when you listen to
He
what he
makes a
says,
lot of sense. Yeah, the
makes
content makes
perfect
a lot of
sense.
sense.
So we're gonna pull this up here. I have a couple, but this because the topic is really masculinity, and I know we've kind of went around it all the way around, and it's good because it really when you talk about masculinity and you talk about family and you talk about the home and you talk about fatherless homes, when we if we're probably going to have a show that's going to be very controversial here in the future about black families and how there's no family, no father. They're all fatherless homes and they're all in prison. You know what I mean? All these families have, you go in the neighborhood where I come from, and all of the mothers, all their kids are in prison because there was no father. You know what I mean?
Yep,
But that's kind of the point. Is like
it's by
if we
design.
catch them early, like we're doing, and we do that with all the outreach that we do and all the different things that we do with the nonprofit and stuff like that, to catch these kids and give them something better early, then hopefully they have a choice when they hit the fork in the road at 15 years old. You know what I mean? They either going to go down a path where they're doing something positive for themselves, or they're going to go down the path that's least resistance, which is prison. You know what I mean? And crime and convict and all that stuff. So anyway, let me pull this up here. I'm glad you showed me how to use this thing because it works so much better than the way I was doing it.
One of the things about you talked about the black community and um, it's become acceptable that
Yeah,
there's no father in the home, and that's
yeah,
one of the big problems. It's a problem. Like other men should not. If you abandon your kid and you show up at my cookout, you should be shamed for that.
right. And we do that, by the way. I don't know if you remember that. Remember back in the day, if somebody showed up and they started talking about how they're going to leave their wife, what we'd do to them? I mean, we
Yeah,
didn't. Yeah, I mean, we did everything short of kicking their fucking ass, and we would if we had to. But it's like
Yeah.
the idea is fatherless homes are a tragedy, and
Done.
you
yeah,
can
Yeah.
call it whatever you want, but I call it straight up.
Toxic.
Well, what it really is it's child abuse because you need
Yep.
both parents in the home. And that's why I was talking about it earlier. Like, and I get the situations that where there's violence in the home. If dad's fucking physically violent, I get that. I totally understand that. That's a different animal. But just because you guys can't get along I mean, me and my wife, we didn't get. You remember, we didn't get along for years, and we just kept with it and kept with it. And now we're like poster children for poster parents for the perfect marriage. But it takes time, and that's why we talk about when you meet somebody, don't get them pregnant in 6 months and get married in 8 months and do all that stuff. Like, get to find out who they are for a couple years before you make those big decisions. That will either benefit or not benefit the children, because it's always about the children, always about the kid.
And if
And
you
if
make
your
that
ego's
decision, you
bigger,
made the decision.
yeah,
Stick with
your
it.
ego's too big. If you have a big ego in a marriage, you're fucked. You can't have one. You can't have an ego. Anyway, let's listen to Jordan Peterson real quick here.
It's not okay. It's necessary. What the hell are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up. These men, they're doing impossible things. They're under the streets, working on the sewers. They're up on the power lines in the storms and the rain. They're keeping this impossible infrastructure functioning. This thing that works in a miraculous manner. They work themselves to death. And often, literally, the gratitude for that is sorely lacking, especially among the people who should be most grateful. You see university professors, especially of the social justice bent, they take everything they have for granted, failing to understand entirely that there's a massive infrastructure of unbelievably hardworking, solidly laboring, working class men breaking themselves in half on a regular basis, making sure that everything that always breaks works.
Yeah, so that is let me pull it down. That is let me get us back on here. Okay. Think about a world without strong men. And you have that photo that I showed you earlier with a bunch of people, men that are like completely confused. They think that wearing a dress is good, and it's just I don't know. I don't even know where that comes from, except for what I think about is I think about CIA, DARPA, MK Ultra, psych meds, all that stuff to me seems like some kind of a experiment that that's what it looks like to me. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not the specialist on transgender study, but I mean, you know, we need strong men. And when the culture gets broken down like it has in the last 10 years, you end up with all these broken homes, right? What do you think, Wheeler?
Yeah. What do I think about? I was just listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I mean it's the very thing that just well, coming from a broken home and then going through a divorce and thinking about how I could have done a better job. And although my marriage that I have now is really a good one, I'm gonna knock on wood because at any minute it could go bad. It could go bad, right? Got to always keep wood involved here. But I think that the biggest problem that we have is fatherless homes. I really do, and I
I
think that
do.
that has a lot to do with men's ego. That's my opinion.
And I think it has to do with women having to take on a masculine role. A man
Absolutely.
can't be in a relationship with a woman who's so masculine because he's unwilling to do that.
That's why men are feminized, because they're being raised by their mother, right?
Yep. And then they get into these relationships where the woman wants a masculine man,
Yep.
and she doesn't. It's biology. They want a masculine man, and then they got a man that submits to their every thing, follows them around, does all that stuff, and it's not what they want.
No, they may say they want it, but they don't.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
got one for you. Ready for it? You're gonna love this. I'm so good at this. Watch this. This is perfect.
You like how you can just pull
This
up videos
segue.
now?
This
Huh?
is a segue right into it. I want to see if I can get it over there before I.
He used to not
screw
be
it up
able to
though.
do it. Now he's got it down.
What are you crying for? Are you really crying right now? My grandma died this morning. She didn't make it. Blaze,
You're like, I'm out of
if
here.
you don't shut your bitch ass up right now. What? crying like a little bitch. Get a grip! Get a grip! The woman was 95 years old. You want her to last till she was 200? No. Get a grip. This is embarrassing. You're supposed to be a man. Yeah, you're right. Like, I'm really the man in this relationship.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, one of
You
our
sure
friends
are.
just one of our friends just went through that where he lost a child, and he held it together for his family.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what you're supposed to do.
he was the rock.
You don't
He-
have an opportunity to be
You did it too.
emotional. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, when you lost your mother,
Yeah.
and you know,
Well, I mean, my mom was having trouble for years,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like, and I know it sounds morbid or insensitive, but it's like, man, my mom was better off gone because she was
yeah,
bedridden for so long. I had a harder time when my Rottweiler died because
Yeah.
it was so
Yeah.
instant. You know what I mean? Remember
yeah,
that?
yeah,
That
Yeah.
was tough. My Rottweiler was my homie.
Yeah.
My mom was great. But anyway, so the reason why I show that is because, you know, how many men or how many women have to take that role on in today's society?
Right.
Yeah. It's a
Get it
lot.
to fuck together. What is your problem, right?
Yep.
So,
Well, they're forced to do that. By having no father around.
you want to know why this is going on? I got the perfect answer.
Here we go.
I got the perfect answer. Give me
Ready
a
for the
second
rabbit
here.
hole.
Let me get it here.
Here comes the rabbit hole.
You're gonna love it. Hold on, dude.
Has being second gentleman changed your own view of perceived gender roles or what it means to be a man?
This is something I've thought about a lot and something I've spoken about a lot. There's too much of toxicity, masculine toxicity out there, and we've kind of confused what it means to be a man, what it means to be masculine, where you've got this trope out there that you've got to be tough and angry and lash out to be strong. It's just the opposite. Strength is how you show your love for people. Strength is how you are for people and how you have their back and how you stick up for other people and pushing out against bullies. I mean, that's what I believe it is. So every time I can speak against this toxicity, we're seeing it with our younger people, we're seeing it in our discourse, in our politics, in the media, you're seeing it as it relates to so many of the issues that we're pushing back on. So I think it's a problem, and I'm going to continue to use this platform every time I get to speak out against this toxic masculinity that's out there.
So that's weird.
There's your problem right there.
Yeah.
People like Doug Imhoff.
That's weird. He actually sounds like he's making sense, but the way he portrays masculinity as a shouting asshole, that's not what masculinity is at all.
No.
And
Yeah, it's like people have these two different views of it. We're saying the same thing, masculinity, but they have two different views.
Yep.
We view it one way and they view it another way.
Yeah, it's just people that live in two different worlds because of the internet. I think you get into your little worm or your little wormhole or your little room, and all you hear is the same thing over and over. It just reinforces the views that you already have, right?
Yeah, your own little echo chamber.
It's important to listen to the other side's views. Never know, you might change your mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was 60 Minutes. So if you know anything about 60 Minutes, they probably ran that question for half an hour with him till he said it just the right way that they wanted it said. You know what I mean? But the point is that they're making strong men look like they're angry, racist, bigots, abusive, and that's the furthest thing from truth. And we showed you earlier with that masculinity isn't toxic, right? Because the truth is strong men aren't abusive because they're strong in their convictions as a man and safe and able to take care of the home. Like my wife and I are really clear. Like, we both have jobs, and that's fine. And I'm the man, and she's the woman. She brings the feminine culture to the home, and I bring masculine culture to the home, and it works good. And there's she's very clear that I'm not like toxic because I'm masculine. But if you listen to him, any man that is masculine is got something wrong with him. He's toxic, right? So that's kind of the where I see it.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you have that understanding because there's a lot of people, women are told that it's wrong to submit to a man in a relationship.
But
And there's different,
is it to be submissive to being a home with a masculine man, or is it just the role that you play as a feminine woman,
Yep.
right?
it depends on what, religion plays a part in it, but traditionally, you have a leader and then
Yeah,
you have the masculine energy and you have the feminine energy and it's okay. It doesn't
yeah,
mean one is less than the other. You
No, and
both
it's
bring
not
the
good.
same thing to it, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
you talk about everything and compromise with your wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Well, the role,
yeah,
it's interesting because the role is I'm the leader and she's the boss.
yeah.
That pretty
Well,
much calls
they're
it.
both
She's the
leaders.
boss around, she's the boss.
Yeah,
But like if it's something that requires me to have some say in it, then I'm the leader. You know
I'm
what I
the
mean?
boss.
But I
I'm the
don't tell
boss.
my wife what to do or how to do it or where to go or how to be or anything. That's not that's what he's saying. Imhoff is talking about this
Yeah,
this toxic culture, being submissive and all that stuff. It's not that at all.
no, no.
Women
I
are
think
very
that
versatile. We know that.
And I think the toxic comes into like when women have ego in the relationship and they're disrespectful. That's what I talk about, having the greater good of your family
Yeah.
be what you two are working for. And when you bring ego into that, it becomes like you said, ego doesn't belong in that relationship, right?
Right.
You said that
Right.
earlier. And it just
Yeah.
kills it. It does. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm the boss at home. Okay,
Yeah, you are.
when she's not around.
You see, he took a look around like that.
You
Just
there? Right. No, and you know what? This has been a good conversation. I mean, you know, what I think is we need to continue to be strong men, and this I would not have an Imhoff to have my back in war. That's not the kind of person that you take to the Marines, right? Obviously, you know what I mean. And so when you talk about masculinity, and that's the other thing that we didn't really touch on. And I don't know if you've seen the Secretary of War last week. You hear his 30-minute speech talking
I
about
I heard a little bit of it, yeah.
yeah. So I seen a good portion of it, and they a bunch of generals and flag officers resigned today, right?
Oh, because they had to
Oh,
shave.
really?
No, I don't think it was because they
No,
had to shave. I think it was
the
because they
fitness thing.
fitness is
Yeah,
part. He told them all that they have to be able to pass PT.
yeah,
All of them, generals, flag officers, everything.
yep.
So why
Yeah.
is that controversial? I don't understand, but
Because they're
Why?
lazy.
Because they haven't done shit in years.
I don't know.
I mean, it's going to take them six
Have
months
you
to be able to
seen
do
Mark? Have you
push-ups.
seen Mark Milley?
Oh yeah,
Right, right.
they need to bring him back, bring him back, and then court-martial his
Yeah,
ass.
they need to do the Davis challenge burpees.
There you
Okay.
go. What's that one? What was that
Yeah.
challenge? What challenge? Hard.
I don't know.
What's it called? 70 hard, right? Is that
Oh,
what it
yeah.
was?
Yeah.
75 hard, yeah,
75
that's
hard,
Yeah.
baby. Have you ready in no time? Do the 75 hard. I'm gonna tell you, I'm 217, and I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I mean my stomach's pretty flat, and I'm pretty getting pretty stout, and it's not because of eating right. It's because when I go to the fucking gym, I get busy. And I used to just go there for like a couple years. It was just kind of going through the motions, kind of working out for half an hour, maybe
Yeah.
45 minutes. And then I just kept stacking more and more and more. And now it's an hour and a half to go to the gym to do cardio and calisthenics and weightlifting and all that stuff. And I feel better I'm 59, almost 60, and I feel like I'm 40. I mean, and it's because I
Awesome.
just give my best. You know what I mean? And
That's
more
awesome.
people should do that. I think death
Yeah.
rates would go down.
That's
Yeah, I
masculine.
gotta get with some men and put together a good routine. I got an okay routine, but I've
Well,
never
you're
really
doing
worked
the
out in
garage
the
thing,
gym.
right?
You need to step
What?
it up, brother.
You're doing the garage thing, right?
The garage thing?
Yeah, you're working out in your garage.
Oh, I work out right here, yeah, in my living room.
Oh, okay.
I got
Yeah.
my gun safe and my weights right in the living room.
You know what?
And my computer.
Gun safe and weights. That's all I need.
That's toxic
Yes,
right there.
yeah. Got my gun safe. I got my weights.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, I started doing the board about maybe 6 weeks ago,
What is
and
it?
I would have, the board, right? You put your leg, you do full sit-ups,
Oh yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
I could only do flat for hell forever. It seemed like, you know what I mean. And then I just kept doing them, and then I just kept getting a little more decline on it, a little bit more, and I'm almost about halfway declined and still doing 5 sets of 10 or 15. You know what I mean? So it's working, but man, them hard, dude. That's tough for an old guy. I mean, fat motherfucker. But I'm doing good. I started legs about 3 weeks ago because I had that knee surgery. So I'm like, okay, you've waited long enough. Let's go. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you're looking good now. You're looking good. You slimmed up and
only one chin. Look,
yep.
I should pull the picture one day and bring it out and put it on so people could see. The people that have been here for years watching my show, they know because I used to be huge. You know what I mean? And the truth is, if really, what happened was 2020. I was listening to Rogan. He was talking about obese dying from the COVID thing. So I started working out a little bit and eating better, and I lost 100 pounds, but I was still not working out really. I was giving my best. And then when I seen Alex Jones lose like 70 pounds in like 6 months, I was like, if that fat bastard can do it, I can do it. So I started giving my best to it and taking supplements and getting to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you need motivation. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and we want you around a little bit longer. You're gonna be 60 years old. You can't be carrying around 200 extra pounds.
Yeah, and you
You
got
just
a
can't
seven.
do it.
No. Yep. Need to stick around. Anyway, good show tonight. I think we covered everything. If you may want to talk about what we should do next, if you're up for continuing this, we'll get Adam here. Adam would have been here tonight, but something came up with his wife, so
To
um,
cleaning his room.
he's
Yeah.
he's cleaning his room. He's like, "Oh, dude," and I'm like, "Dude, I sent you a message," but uh, I don't know. Let's figure out where we want to go next month, and do is just if you men are up for it, we'll just keep it going and keep doing stuff like this because I get
I'm up
off in
for
the
it.
rabbit hole, huh?
I'm up for it. I think if you had some topics that you want to go over, it'd be cool to be able to know a couple topics because then we can bring, like, I can, come prepared with some
Yeah, for
statistics or
sure.
whatever we're
Yeah, that'd
talking
be
Yeah,
good.
this is kind of the first one. I want to kind of see how it went. You know, because I get kind of down in these rabbit holes and to the point to where because I do politics 24/7 and it's kind of refreshing to just although it's all related nowadays, every fucking thing under the sun is related to politics, really, when you look at it. Um, but just to do something a little bit different kind of gives me a lot like coming up for air when you're swimming, right? Just need once in a while, just take a little take a backstroke or something. So I think it was great. What do you men think?
I think it's good that you're reaching out and doing something a little different. You know, you got to talk to different people and do different stuff. You can't get pigeonholed into
Oh, I'm
one area of
pigeonholed,
life,
brother.
right? Yeah, I think it's
Alex
Yeah.
Jack all day long.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it in a month or something, or a couple
Yeah.
of weeks. We can do another one. Maybe
Yeah.
have another man here.
Yeah.
I think it would be good, and we can also, me and Wheeler can think of topics we want to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Absolutely.
put them forward to web so that they're on the list.
Yeah.
So we have stuff we can talk about.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Sounds great.
I'm up for that.
Yeah.
All right. So for everybody that I'll be here tomorrow night at 8:00, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, California time. We're going to do the regular show that we would normally do tonight. We're doing it tomorrow night, and we're going to cover all the topics. We're going to cover the Charlie Kirk debacle. This thing keeps getting it's just worse, man. I mean, it is bad, and and it's bad, and I mean, I said it a little while ago, but like, how do you have somebody? Let me ask you, Wheeler. You've done enough hunting in your time to know that just shooting anything in the neck, juggler, by the way, right in the neck, right in the blood port, right, and not have any blood anywhere except for on camera when you the first initial thing. It's impossible. Nobody had blood on them. And it's like, oh no, we're gonna have to talk about this. We're gonna have to get to the bottom of it. So I'm gonna do a bunch of research tomorrow.
So what do you think happened? Like, so the only thing that I've saw on this whole thing is like people slowing down a video frames per second. If you slow it down to 2, 3 frames per second, you're not going to see it, right? You're just not
Yeah,
going to.
no,
Yeah, it's too pixelated.
no. What I see, and I'm not. Let me say, I'm not making any. And I've said this the whole time since the very first time that I did anything with the Charlie Kirk assassination from the very start. I'm not picking a side, a shooter, a this or that. I will say this though, was not a 30-06. Absolutely was not a 30-06. And I am willing to say at this point that Robinson didn't do it. I'll tell you that. I can guarantee you
Really?
that. Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. There's way too much. There's no picture of him. Zero pictures of him. Zero. Not one. Not any. They can't say definitively that the person that they had in the stairwell or on the roof or walking across the street on the ring camera that they can say that it's him. There's no way. There's no eyewitness. There's nothing. But there is
He's on
there is
video though. Isn't he on video? Don't they have him on video?
Dude, there's cameras every 5 feet of that whole school, that whole
And they
college.
showed him hopping
that
off the
they didn't
building
have-
and all that stuff.
Huh?
They showed him hopping off the building.
That can
Up in the stairwell.
look at it. Tell me how you can say that it's him. You can't say it's him. There's no and first of all,
He's got the
we're
same
talking about
clothes on.
4K, 6K cameras, and it's grainy like it was downloaded 50 times. It's impossible. You know what I mean? There's just too many anomalies, and we're going to get into that tomorrow night.
That's the rabbit hole.
We're going to get into it tomorrow night. We're going to also look at some other stuff. They're supposed to come into Alex's studio and take it over on Tuesday. They're taking Alex's show, his InfoWars from him, and they've already got a backup studio and all that stuff. But the judge finally basically didn't have his back after 10 debacles where he said that it was unconstitutional to take his to do it the way they did it with all the rigged trials and all that stuff. And for whatever reason, they're gonna let him take it. So yeah, we'll talk about some of that too. I got some pretty good stuff on that. Anyway, all right. Well, thanks, Mr. Wheeler and Boyd. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks
see
for
you
having
all
us.
tomorrow night.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We'll see you all at 8:00 tomorrow night. And thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.